For USF students, the Gulf isn't just a body of water. It's an ecosystem that supports life across our region, and honor students are turning that connection into action. All that and more coming up next. Hey Honors Bulls, welcome back to the Honor Roll Podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College Podcast Network. I'm your host, Fabiana Requena, a fourth-year student studying marketing and business analytics and a member here at the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Today, my co-host is Riva Gandhi, a fourth-year student studying biomedical sciences and public health with a minor in nutrition. It's so great to have you on the podcast, Riva.
Thanks for having me. It's always a good time with you.
Yes, likewise. As always, we like to start off our podcast with one big question. So my question this week is a little fun. It's a little tropical. What is your favorite beach here in our region?
Oh, that's a hard one. I am from Sarasota, so we have a lot of great beaches in that area. If I had to pick one, I'd say Anna Maria. It's just so calm, it's so peaceful, it's very quiet. And if you get to the tip, there's some really cute places to eat. And the waves are always nice, and it's not super busy if you go around sunset. So I think that's my favorite.
You kind of beat me to it. I love Anna Maria. But if I had to pick another one, I would go with Indian Rocks Beach. I love Indian Rocks. I feel like it's also quite calm. When you can find good parking, which is rare, it's a really good time. The water's nice and clear, good sand, spread out from everybody. Good times.
Yeah, especially this time of year when we don't have as many tourists. It's just so fun to just sit at the beach and just relax for a little bit.
Enjoy the moment. Well, this week, Riva, we're actually sitting down with Dr. Catherine Wilkins to learn about a new honors program housed at the USF St. Pete Honors Campus. It's called the Gulf Scholars Program, where students will be able to engage with our Bay by taking Gulf-themed classes, participating in a research symposium, and partnering with the community. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Santi Ramirez. I'm majoring in civil engineering and I'm a second year here at USF. Advice for the first years, I would say, is use your honors advisors. They will be your first point of contact when it comes to finding opportunities and taking advantage of those opportunities, such as global studies and research programs that we offer here in the Honors College. Thank you so much for listening. And now let's get back to the episode.
Today, we're joined by Dr. Catherine Wilkins, Director of the Gulf Scholars Program and a professor at the Judy Genshaft Honors College St. Petersburg campus. Her work sits at the crossroads of community-engaged research, environmental humanities, the arts, and history. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Wilkins.
Thanks so much for having me.
We're so excited to have you here today. For those who might be hearing about the Gulf Scholars Program for the first time, Dr. Wilkins, how do you usually describe it?
The Gulf Scholars Program is an initiative designed to empower students, faculty, and the broader community to expand their sense of Gulf consciousness, that is, awareness of the human and ecological issues facing the Gulf, and feel empowered to become change agents, that is, people who are ready and prepared to make positive changes for their broader community and the world.
I love that. I think that's definitely a space needed here at USF, and I think the Honors College provides a lovely home for it. But like any new project or innovation, the process of building it can be challenging, and there's lots of obstacles. So what was the process like building Gulf Scholars to USF?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So the Gulf Scholars Program is the result of a grant through the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. And the grant funding actually came from a payout, a settlement after the BP oil spill, which I think took place in 2011. So I don't know if you're familiar with that event, but essentially it was an ecological disaster, a man-made ecological disaster in the Gulf of Mexico. And as a result, BP was required to essentially set aside some money to fund research into the impact of this disaster, the impact both environmentally and on the human communities surrounding the Gulf. So we are a beneficiary of those resources. And I think our program is designed to really try to identify the impacts of ongoing environmental challenges in the Gulf, the way that it's transforming both human and animal populations and industries. And because we're looking at such essentially an interdisciplinary wicked problem, the Honors College is a great place to house the Gulf Scholars Program, because as you know, we have students from literally every major in the Honors College. So if we're thinking about like the public health implications of an environmental disaster, or we're thinking about how, the oyster harvesting industry has been impacted by environmental changes like rising sea levels or ocean acidification, we have students in the Honors College who are prepared to be thinking about those things and learning skills in their discipline, and then from us in honors too, that can enable them to help make a positive difference. So back to your question about how did we get this grant in the first place, we are joining a cohort of about 20 other colleges and universities that already have Gulf Scholars programs. And all of us are kind of taking the programs in unique directions. The overall goal of Gulf Scholars is to create more of a sort of consciousness and awareness of Gulf-related issues and enable students to be change makers. Where our program at USF is really unique is that we do have students who are coming at this from perspectives other than just marine biology. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have graphic arts students thinking about things like data visualization and science communication. And we'll have political science students thinking about how to create laws and policies that better protect the ecosystem of the Gulf. So we are really excited to bring a kind of interdisciplinary twist to the Gulf Scholars Program and have our students shine as part of it.
One thing that really fascinates me is you mentioned medicine and public health, and that's kind of my areas of interest.
Yeah.
But I've always been interested in how our contributions to public health impact the environment and vice versa. And I think that's such a niche area to learn from that's not talked a lot about in traditional majors. Like we have our basic classes, but the Honors College really gives you an opportunity to grow and foster that understanding a little bit more. What makes the St. Pete campus the ideal spot for this program?
So I know you've been to the St. Pete campus before, so you are familiar with our geographic location. I would say that first and foremost makes us uniquely situated for a Gulf Scholars Program. We are located right on the shores of Bayboro Harbor, which is a body of water that feeds into the Gulf of Mexico. We're also right on the edge of downtown St. Petersburg, which ties into the community engaged elements of this grant, which I'll talk about with you later, hopefully. So we are really well situated kind of between city and Gulf to be addressing issues on both sides, both the environmental and the human. We're also able to build on the strengths of the faculty at USF St. Pete. I have a lot of amazing colleagues who for years already have been working in an interdisciplinary way around Gulf-related issues. And we are going to be able to bring in more visiting faculty to teach in the Honors College who can really speak to their research experience and expertise in those interdisciplinary Gulf-related issues through the classes that they'll develop for us.
That actually brought me to my next question, which was, are there going to be any new courses that are part of this program available to Gulf Scholars students?
So we are going to be offering 2 or 3 new courses in the Honors College at USF St. Pete per semester that are going to be Gulf themed. So we are busy right now recruiting faculty from all over campus and also community experts to help teach these courses. I was thinking before, Reva, in your question about public health and the impact of health interventions on the environment, about Professor Heather O'Leary. She's an anthropologist, and she's going to be teaching a class on coastal cultures for us in the fall. And she is really interested in the idea of pollutants and contamination from a variety of different sources, but including from the healthcare industry, and the way in which that impacts health outcomes in the community by way of its distribution through water. If that makes sense. So how pollutants and contaminants are distributed by water and how that ends up impacting people downstream, essentially. And so her course is going to be a really interesting geoperspectives course because her area of research so far has primarily been in India. And she is going to be doing essentially a kind of cross-cultural comparison between those sort of water contamination pollution issues in India and in the Tampa Bay area, as we're seeing the Gulf impacted by those things as well. So that's just a sampling of one of the new courses that's coming out this fall as part of the Gulf Scholars Program.
That's such an interesting thing to think about, especially when you're thinking of the lifestyle of people in India compared to the lifestyle and the health and the chronic diseases of people here.
Mm-hmm.
They're so different, and we have so much waste that goes into our environment here, whereas India has kind of a different sort of ecosystem that is built around. So I'd be very curious to learn more about that, because it's such a shame we're graduating.
I know.
Can't take it. But you're also, Dr. Wilkins, a founding member of the USF Blue-Green Institute and serve as the university liaison to Florida's Institute of Oceanography, where you connect students and faculty to regional and national Gulf initiatives. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement there?
Sure. And both of those things, I think, tie really well into the previous question about why USF St. Pete is the right home for Gulf Scholars, because we do have amazing people and resources on that campus who have already been doing wonderful work in what we're calling blue-green humanities. So the idea with blue-green humanities is like that liminal space where land meets sea, so the green and the blue, and the way in which, human beings for millennia have thrived in this zone, but have also impacted it. Sometimes in good ways, sometimes less good. So I have some great colleagues who work in the Blue-Green Institute. We're hosting a lecture series this spring, bringing in essentially authors who have been really important in pioneering research in humanistic disciplines like philosophy and literature as it relates to people's interactions with the ocean. So I'm really excited to kind of plug that. Our first person, Steve Mentz, is coming next Thursday. So Florida Institute of Oceanography as well is an amazing resource on the St. Pete campus. It serves dozens of institutions all over the state of Florida, both public and private schools, but FIO is based out of USF St. Pete. So their 3 research vessels are docked there in St. Petersburg, and all of their staff and scientists work on our campus as well. They've been really generous in helping us engage undergraduate students in marine research. Sometimes this is difficult for especially young students to kind of break into. It's tough to get a berth on a research vessel because space is so limited. But FIO has really made an effort to try to engage students from a range of different disciplines. One of the ways they do that is through our Honoring the Ocean program. So Honoring the Ocean is a collaboration between the Honors College at USF and 5 other honors colleges at other institutions around the state. Each of us select 4 students to participate in a mini course every spring. We have faculty from all of the institutions, including myself. I'm the rep from USF, who essentially teach a lecture in our area of expertise, thinking about how our discipline interacts with the ocean. And then at the end of the mini course, we take all of the students on an overnight trip on a research vessel. So they can learn how science takes place on these boats. They can participate in experiments and data sampling that's happening on the vessels. And they can learn, too, about other careers in marine science. For example, being the pilot of one of those ships is really challenging and requires a lot of knowledge and skills that most of us don't know anything about. So the students get that sort of behind the scenes look at not only how science happens on the vessels, but how the vessels themselves run. And it's a wonderful opportunity. And we prioritize first year students to take place in that opportunity so that they kind of get their feet wet, so to speak, and build some connections at FIO and at USF that hopefully will benefit them going forward.
That is super exciting. And a overnight research vessel. Where do you all go, and what do you all do during that trip?
Yeah, so we basically just go straight out into the Gulf. One of our goals is to just get away from land, and you can see so many stars at night when there's not the light pollution from land. So just that experience in and of itself is amazing. But we also do a trawl, so they are bringing up essentially a sampling of the species that are dwelling in different depths. And we do a daytime and a nighttime trawl, so we're getting to see the creatures that are a little bit more active at night as well. We do some deeper sea water sampling. So there's a really cool device that you can use to kind of bring up samples from various depths. And we're looking at things like salinity and temperature, and thinking about how that affects the species that dwell there. There's also a remote operated vehicle that has been used for a variety of different purposes, including for looking at submerged archaeological sites. So I'm not sure if we'll get to use the ROV this spring when we go out, but it's kind of a dream of mine to do that.
I think that's so special, like having so many different studies and disciplines in one place. Like, I mean, that's kind of what we do at the Honors College. But for a program like this, especially when we start thinking about our climate, our ecosystem, like it's super important to face these issues we have to really create a better future. We need all these different people, even though, you know, most people think like, oh, we only need a marine science major or a biology major. It's really important to have all these kinds of people.
Yeah, because these people are really experts in their field. And so when they bring in their different perspectives, you're not just understanding what they know, but also how almost changing the way they think and changing the way they approach stuff that they've done for so long. So I think that's very special.
Yeah.
You're completely right about that. And in the example of the trawling, the scientists who are on board, who do this as a profession and do trawls all the time, they had not thought about the kind of ethical dimensions of what they were doing. And so we literally paused and had a great conversation with them about their practice. And I think the students got them to think about their actions in a different way. Just because of your point, Riva, that when you're immersed in a discipline, you sometimes take those practices and methods for granted. And you just assume they've always been that way and they always will be. And I think the value, Fabi, to your point of interdisciplinary inquiry is that somebody who's coming from outside of that area is looking at it with fresh eyes and can ask those hard questions about why do you do it this way? And is that really the best way to go about it? So I think that's one of the values of our Honors College's approach to learning.
And I think that's what makes the Honors College so special. And I think I've had the pleasure of looking at some images from the boat, and it's so cool. And I think it's going to be a great asset for not just current St. Pete students, but even the Gulf Scholars Program as it grows.
Yes.
But students who will join the Gulf Scholars Program are going to have so many amazing opportunities like this one beyond the traditional classroom. What is expected of the Gulf Scholars Change Agents during the 2-year program?
So students will apply to become a Gulf Scholar. They have to be Honors College students, but they can be incoming freshmen, so FTICs, or current honors students up to the end of their second year. So they have to have 2 years remaining before graduation to make sure they can get all the requirements of the Gulf Scholars Program accomplished. Essentially, it's almost like having a sort of minor or a concentration within the Honors College curriculum, because our Gulf Scholars will take 2 of their 4 honors seminars in Gulf-related issues. So I mentioned before we're having these new classes that focus on Gulf issues, and they'll be marked in a certain way, essentially in our course offerings every semester. So Gulf Scholars have to take 2 Gulf-themed classes. One of their 2 experiential learning opportunities that they have to do for honors anyway will also be Gulf-themed. And then their honors thesis or capstone will have a Gulf focus as well. We're calling that a Gulf Impact Project because what we hope the students will do as a result of their undergraduate research experience is generate new perspectives and share them with the community in an impactful way. So essentially, it's not adding additional time to a student's degree progression. It's just requiring them within the honors curriculum to be focusing more on Gulf-related content.
I think, especially when they're so passionate about something, having that extra focus isn't going to be necessarily difficult. And I think we're going to have so many outputs from that not just, are great for the Honors College, but really impact the trajectory of the Bay Area and see real change in the way we approach wildlife and marine conservation in the long run. But how does this specifically help students improve professionally and build the network for their professional careers?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Although the Gulf Scholars Program is housed in the Honors College, our vision is that our Gulf Scholar change agents are really going to be planting seeds all around the campus and the community, and the faculty who teach for us as well. So the vision for the courses that are being developed for Gulf Scholars is that they will be offered for the first time in the Honors College, and then the faculty will go back and teach that course in their department for the general population. So more students all around campus are getting access to those courses. In addition, the Gulf Scholar change agents are going to be learning kind of leadership skills as part of the program. So we have some other activities planned for the cohort that will happen outside of the classroom and are designed to help cultivate those skills of leadership and change agency. So we envision those students in their roles elsewhere on campus and in the community, for example, in internships, also helping to expand that Gulf consciousness that they're developing as part of the program. We will be hosting a symposium on the USF St. Pete campus starting in the third year of our grant. So we're in the first year of the grant right now from the National Academies. And the idea behind the symposium is that it will be a place where the Gulf Scholars can share their Gulf impact projects, so share their research in the form of posters or presentations. But also we will have faculty panels and opportunities for community members to come in and share their experience and expertise. So hosting panels themselves or presentations themselves, because we do believe that our community is really on the front lines of experiencing the Gulf. And I mean that in every way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we value their expertise and their knowledge, and we want to create a space on campus where the community can come and share their perspectives as well, so that it's more of like a mutual exchange of knowledge and information as opposed to like a one-way street.
Mm-hmm.
I think that creating a space for this and like you're planning out this whole ecosystem where you're giving other students who aren't Gulf Scholars maybe, or other faculty who isn't involved in this, the opportunity to be able to engage and learn more and maybe drive them to take action, maybe become a change agent. I think that's a perfect little community that you're creating there.
Thanks for calling it an ecosystem.
Yeah.
I want to use that.
Okay.
Can I borrow that, please?
Yes. To wrap up, why do you think it's so important for students to engage with the Gulf specifically at this time?
In St. Pete, in 2024, we had pretty significant impacts from two hurricanes, Helene and Milton. And I think that helped drive home how urgent it is to understand this body of water that we live next to that was in so many people's living rooms, unfortunately, in the fall of 2024. There is a broader urgency, I think, thinking about the widespread changes that we've seen environmentally taking place that have impacted the Gulf. If we're thinking about things like sea level rise, Gulf temperatures increasing, ocean acidification, damage to coral reefs, there have been a lot of environmental challenges to the Gulf too that have then had an impact on human communities. But there's also this great opportunity now that we have more data and more knowledge and awareness of that to make a change. And I think that honors college students are driven to engage with their community and to leverage their privilege, their knowledge, their skills for the betterment of the world. And I think that we're poised to do that at this moment in time, where we've seen firsthand just how critical these issues are. We can't avoid or escape or overlook them anymore. And so now it's really time to kind of get up, mobilize the community, and try to make some positive change.
Yeah, I think, the time has almost passed for simply prevention.
Mm-hmm.
It's more now active change and active almost reversal for some of the damage we've caused. And I think that the Gulf Scholars Program is a really fascinating and niche hub for that to happen. And I think I can see real change makers in the future, especially as you grow like an alumni network and a group of people who have the similar foundations and passion for the Gulf, especially here in Tampa Bay.
That's a great point. And could I just riff off of that for a second and say that I think you're right. We need creative solutions at this point. And that's another thing that honors college students do very well is exercise their creative thinking and their compassion and care as well. So I do think there is a lot that needs to change in terms of our interactions with the marine environment. But one other thing I want to be careful of as well is respecting the communities that we're part of and helping them preserve and protect things that do matter to them, even in the face of broader changes that they can't escape. And so I think that helping our students have a deeper knowledge of the Gulf and its communities is the first step in generating those creative solutions that are delivered with care and compassion.
That's very well said. I'm really excited for this program. I'm excited to see all the good things that it brings to students and the USF and really to the Gulf.
Thank you.
For students interested in being part of the USF Gulf Scholars Program, please visit the Gulf Scholars page through the link in the description below. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Wilkins.
Thanks for a great conversation.
We're back in the studio, Fabi. What did you think about today's episode?
I am so excited for the Gulf Scholars Program to start. I'm really excited for the first cohort. I'm really excited to see the projects that students will be involved with and how the Bay is really going to have an impact from this.
And I'm really excited for all of that, but also seeing how people of all sorts of majors kind of come together and bring this project to light and really help it grow and develop and create real change in not just St. Pete, but Tampa Bay as a whole. I think it's going to be a huge game changer for USF and the Honors College. And if you're looking for programs that are similar to this, don't forget to check out the Honor Roll newsletter and our website at usf.edu/honors for upcoming events, updates, and news.
That'll do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by USF students Valma Shah, Nicholas Henry, and Maya Nikolsky. Thank you all so much for listening, and please do not forget to rate and review our podcast as we really appreciate your feedback. Tune in next time to hear more honor stories and talk to more members of the Judy Genshaft Honors College.
Until next time, go Bulls!